Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you, and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Rejoice, and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle, and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Here we go. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. And when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Let's just do this. The true gospel of the Lord. Praise to the Lord, the word, the light. Super Bowl Sunday. And I say good afternoon to you. Make myself a little room here and move this so I don't set it off. All right. You know, if the outcome of today's Super Bowl comes down to the game's final play, and you find yourself inclined to ask Jesus to help your favorite team win, remember it's quite possible he doesn't know squat about tackle football. At least when we read the opening sentences of his Sermon on the Mount, found in Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. It seems his values are light years away from the confident and muscular ethos that football teams rely on for success. He directs attention in this passage toward the weak, powerless, and vulnerable elements of humanity. Consider these some of the groups he embraces. The poor in spirit, referring either to humble people or to those who are broken and have lost hope. Those who mourn, those who suffer loss and the feeling of emptiness that follows. The meek, those who are gentle and unobtrusive, who refuse to use power over others as a tool to make things happen. The merciful, people who willingly surrender their privileges or otherwise go out of their way to improve others' well-being. Those who are persecuted, people whose refusal to give up their quest for the truth or virtuousness, that's a big word, virtuousness, results in the taking away of their rights, wholeness, or dignity. Careful, Jesus, or you'll get blamed for contributing to the wussification of America. The kinds of people Jesus highlights tend to dwell beneath society's radar. They often stay out or are kept out of public view. They possess little power. Most of us can find no reason for aspiring to join these groups. So what does Jesus say about these people? All of them are blessed? Not a helpful word since we don't use it much in ordinary speech. And again, some say blessed, some say blessed. So they're interchangeable here. It's just whichever the vernacular they choose. Same word. Another possible translation is happy, but not in a cheery, shallow sense. Think of blessed as unburdened or satisfied. Jesus then names categories of people who usually appear in the eyes of others as needy, harassed, or scorned, and he declares them to be the opposite. Once he gets to them, they become secure and complete. They receive grand promises, comfort, mercy, intimacy with God, and so on. Since these verses present Jesus' first teachings in Matthew's Gospel, they set the stage for all that follows. They lay foundations for how we might understand Jesus, his message, and his priorities. Several different ways of understanding this part of the Sermon on the Mount have been proposed. Some have taken Jesus' declarations as ethical instructions, as if he tells people to shape up and live humbly and mercifully if they want to receive God's gifts. Others see Jesus trying to expose where true contentment resides, not in self-preservation and striving for more, but ironically in a humble embrace of simplicity, suffering, and disadvantage. In my opinion, however, I side with a third perspective. Jesus, here at the outset of his public life, identifies the kinds of people he intends to bless, who will be made content and gratified by participating in what Jesus offers now and in the future. The kinds of people who suffer brokenness and grief, people taken advantage of by friends and strangers, the people who always come out on the losing side, whether the field of play involves their economic well-being, their social respectability, or their physical health. Jesus announces he intends to invert our taken for granted expectations about where happiness and achievement can be found. In drawing a contrast between football and those whom Jesus targets for his benefits, I don't mean to read too much into the spirit or principles of the game. It is, after all, just a game, right? Nor is my point to single out the all-American sport as a unique offender. Football merely offers an expression of society's collective values: domination and violence, but also teamwork and incredible athleticism. Not all of these lead us in the wrong directions, yet the game's focus on sheer force and control, advantages that mourners, the meek, and truly impoverished souls can hardly imagine enjoying, highlights Jesus' efforts to reorder our values through his commitment to fill up the very people we assumed were destined for emptiness. Especially this week, football also provides a token of our society's obsession with power as a close partner of runaway wealth. Organized football is an expensive game. Just ask any rec league organizer or high school principal. Maybe the high costs and sense of extravagance are a reason why football looms large in American identity and civil religion. We've got resources and we aren't afraid to use them. Need helmets? America can afford lots of those. Lose a linebacker to a knee injury? We've got plenty of huge, fast, strong guys to take his place. Want a memorable pregame ceremony? We can do something cool with a bunch of those stealth fighter planes we aren't using today. Note to Jesus, please don't let them use the drones for the flyover this year. My humor is dry. I warned you.
No, that's good.
I like it.
You bring up a good point.
If you want to see real wealth on Super Bowl Sunday, which happens to be today, look elsewhere in the stadium. The commissioner of the NFL has earned a salary of $30 million in 1 year. Working on behalf of the rich owners of the league's 32 teams. Full-service luxury suites for the big game are renting in the neighborhood of $500,000. And some could go for much more in secondary markets. God knows what a beer and a souvenir cup will cost you. All this will be taking place in Miami Gardens, Florida, where, according to recent figures, 21.5% of the population lives below the poverty line. How many Miami Garden residents will be able to watch the game in person? Talking about values can be slippery. Certainly we don't all value the same things in the same ways. Our individually held values are composed of unique mixtures of our commitments, virtues, and vices. But Americans live in an environment that too often trains us to look in the wrong places for definitions of success and for evidence of the good life. When that happens, we risk misunderstanding where God's true priorities lie. Now that's something worth praying about. Do so in any way you choose. Official NFL jersey, optional. Amen. You know what it's time for? It's time for everybody's favorite part of the service.
Announcements.
The announcements. It absolutely is the announcements, and we'll get to that as soon as there it is, the announcements. I still can't figure it out. Just y'all's favorite type of the service. I think y'all just really like hearing me talk. I really do.
I know.
Communion's very nice. It is. Probably the more important one, actually.
I like the I love you, Lord.
The I love you, Lord, is beautiful. And it's part of that communion. It's kind of the lifting up of our spirits. If we do that every day, I guarantee you your life will change. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. Lift up your heart to the Lord every day, just like you did today. I guarantee your life will change. Promise. So, weekly announcements, the part that everybody's been waiting on after that beautiful communion. Request for prayer. Very simple. All you have to do is send us an email. pray@dallasulc.com. pray@dallasulc.com. You can choose to remain anonymous, or you can give us your name. You can ask that we say your prayers in our daily prayers. We pray every day here at Dallas Universal Life Church, or you can ask that your prayers be said in the intercessory prayers on the Sunday services. Again, you can remain anonymous or give your name. Also, this is a great place if you're looking to dedicate a service to a loved one. Now, this doesn't have to be a deceased loved one, contrary to popular belief. I prefer actually that people dedicate services to those who are still living. Let them enjoy it as well. We usually put their name in their picture in the bulletin. If there's time, and you're willing to help us out with it, we'll do a small video, and they get their name announced here. It's kind of fun. It's great for birthdays, anniversaries, anything that's celebratory, even just to say, hey, I love you. So all we ask for that is that you do help with a small donation to the church to help cover the cost of the service. Okay? All right. Pray at DallasULC.com. We're going to get this under control at some point. Compliments, concerns, suggestions, or complaints. Compliments, concerns, suggestions, or complaints. Very important things to remember here. All you have to do is send us an email if you have any of those. Feedback at DallasULC.com. Compliments, concerns, suggestions, or complaints. It's so simple. Just email us at feedback at DallasULC.com. Did you know we had a podcast? We've got a podcast. Can you believe it? I can't believe it.
What's a podcast?
Yeah, what is a podcast? It is a good question because it's kind of, it's kind of a new, it's not new by any means, but I tell you what, the popularity of podcasts has really just taken off. I mean, it's amazing that people are actually going backwards in kind of technology a little bit. I mean, you're not having the visuals now. You've got just listening to it and being able to use your own imagination, actually think about what's being said rather than having to have other things going on there. It's kind of interesting that a lot of people are choosing to listen to the podcast, and I'm so happy they are because we have a podcast. Can you believe it? We do. You can check out our podcast. All you have to do is go to Your Path with Bishop Mark, and while you do that, just go to your search engine. Hopefully the ceiling doesn't cave in when somebody's jumping up and down on it while you're looking for it. No, just go to your favorite search engine, type in Your Path with Bishop Mark. I guarantee you'll find it. It's different listening to the podcast. It really is, folks. It's in being here in the service or even watching us on YouTube or any of the other sites that are out there. The podcast is a lot of fun. We have some little unique things that we do on the podcast that are kind of fun as well. So check it out. And if you don't want to go this way, you can always go another way. You can check out our podcast on these lovely providers, if I can get it to come up. There they are: Anchor, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Castbox, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and of course TuneIn, or anywhere that fine podcasts are heard. By the way, I'm still so proud of this. I mention it every once in a while. Google Podcasts, when they opened up, I guess it was last year, or I think it was last year, maybe even the year before, I think it was last year, we were one of their first, we were included in their grand opening. Our podcast was one of the ones chosen to be live when they went live. So it was really a big, that was a big deal for me. I felt really honored that they did that for us.
Regardless.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I was like, we're getting picked up by Google Podcasts. That was cool in and of itself, but then to be there, when they hit the button and opened up and we were right there with them, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool, yeah. So, anyway, check it out. Podcast is fun. Okay. Now then, down to a little bit of business. Did you know you can make a difference in this world and in this church and in this city and the lives of all those people around you? You can donate. And we do tithe here at Dallas Universal Life Church, but on top of that, you can donate to our church, to our charity, and all of your donations are 100% tax deductible. We are a 501c3, 501c3, tax exempt. Well, I'm just brain dead today. My mind's wanting to jumble around. We're a 501c3 corporation, which is a nonprofit corporation. So all of the money that we receive here, we basically give back to the community, and we use some for operating expenses when we need to keep ourselves going here, which is quite expensive with the lights and the computers, but none of us here take a salary. This is all volunteers, so we offer our time and our money and our abilities to try and bring this word to you, and we need your help to keep this word and our mission going here. And the only way we can keep our doors open is through donations. And so this is a great place to do it. DallasULC.com/giving. Again, you can make a difference, and these doors don't stay open without your help. So please consider making a donation to Dallas Universal Life Church. I will make a side note here that's not on here. If you shop on Amazon, which I know most of us do, please make sure that when you log on to Amazon, make your bookmark and make it to where you always do this. Always go to smile.amazon.com when you shop on Amazon. That'll take you to their giving page. Basically, it's their charity. What you do is you go on there, and if you choose, you can choose Dallas Universal Life Church as your charity, and every dollar that you spend, Amazon will donate to us half a cent. Now I know it doesn't seem like much, but if we get a few people doing this and spend a little bit of money at Amazon, and I mean, I use Amazon every week, almost every day, for everything, and that half a cent can add up pretty quickly. It really does, and it could really help us out. So if you do shop on Amazon, smile.amazon.com, and make sure you add Dallas Universal Life Church as your charity. We would appreciate it. Okay. Now, some of us, like me, we don't have a lot of money in our pockets, and so we decided to do what I said earlier. We decided to donate our time to help make a difference. And you can volunteer here at Dallas Universal Life Church. We are always in need of help, always in need of people there's always something to do, always. And you do that by going to dallasulc.com/volunteer to see what positions we do have open. Don't feel that we're limited to that. If you feel like you have some talent you want to bring here, bring it. That's just the things that we're in desperate need of right now, is some of those people, those positions we have on the website there. But if we're not going to turn you down. You want to come volunteer, come on, we could use you. And our mission could definitely use you. We're trying to move some molehills, some mountains that are what's the old saying? Move a mountain like a something about moving mountains and molehills or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
We're trying to be that little engine that couldn't. That could. We're trying to do that engine. I'm trying to get all these little ones together, and I'm getting confused. The little engine that couldn't, and the rubber tree plant that could, or something. I don't know, something like that.
You use your words.
Look, we're trying to do some good in the world, and we volunteer a lot of hours ourselves. It's not to say that you have to do that or anything else. 15 minutes makes a difference with us. And just to come and volunteer with us, just come out and meet us. Heck, it's nice to meet new people that are out there listening to us and watching our episodes and celebrating with us and enjoying what we're doing, and hopefully spreading this message to others as well. Spread the message, folks. Tell people you watch us. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about your life in Christ. Really, spread the message. That's one of the biggest parts of this ministry that we're missing. And a lot of people are not doing, and it shows when our attendance kind of wavers a little bit and people move on and do other things. It's hard to get people back in here because nobody spread the message. Nobody knows we're here. So spread the message. Talk about it. Talk about your life. You don't have to be all, holy roller. Just talk about your life and what it means, what this church has done for you. Okay? All right. That was a little side note there. I'm sorry. And that got us through the announcements, folks. There you go. Not too bad, huh?
Not at all.
Those are going to be changing soon because it's fixing to get crazy again. We're fixing to go into the official season of Lent here pretty soon, the 40 days before Easter. And everybody knows what that means. When Easter's coming, it's going to be it gets a rough. That 40 days is a lot of work for me and for all the volunteers here. There's a lot that goes on. There's of course Ash Wednesday, which is a beautiful service, and then we've got the 40 days of introspective, looking into ourselves and trying to better ourselves. Then of course we have Palm Sunday and Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, my favorite service of the entire year, Good Friday, and of course Easter Sunday, which comes up. So it's all coming big, and then right after that is our 4th year anniversary coming up, and that same weekend again will be Pride. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping we get to go to that this year. I have not. We're just in the preliminary stages of doing that. We've got to get the money in pretty quick if we're going to do it, just like last year. They raised the price on us this year by $50, so it's something I'm talking about with the board, and we're going to bring to you and kind of see what y'all want to do with it as well, if we're going to be able to do this or not. Because I wish I could just throw out the $350 out of my pocket and say it's done, but I don't have that kind of money just floating around, and I don't think anybody here does. It's a tough world out there. But I think if we come together, we might be able to do this. I'd really like to try it again this year. Last year was fun.
$350 to get in it.
It's $350 just to get our spot. Just to get our spot. That doesn't include our car. That doesn't include any banners. That doesn't include anything at all that we take. Now, you'll know this, that the awning that was supposed to be there last year, that I promised would be there, it came in that Monday.
Yeah.
And it's still back there in the box. So it's still here, ready to go. I was awful. Last year, we had a convertible car, and we had a bunch of people that came that were going to march with us. It just got too hot. And we were on a parking lot in June in Texas with no cover. It was hot on the asphalt, and we were out, and you had to get there early, so we were there like 2.5 hours. And they forgot the water for the parade goers. This is their first time out at Fair Park, and apparently they were either late or something happened, but it wasn't there for a while. There was no water, bottled water or anything, cold water for the participants in the parade.
Wow.
So luckily, right before the parade started, a couple of 18-wheelers pulled up with lots of bottled water because it was hot. It was hot. So but it was fine. I mean, I marched instead of. I mean, I think that was God's way of telling me you weren't ready to ride around in the parade yet. You need to get out there and march a little more. So I didn't get to ride in the BMW that we had. That's okay. It's okay. I marched, and I got some good pictures of me and Marcus marching, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. You know, we got our name out there. I don't care if it was just one or two of us. We did it, and we were spreading that word that way. That's all that matters. So we're going to talk about that coming up. So get that in your mind. Start thinking about if you want to go to Pride this year, and the 4th year anniversary. I don't know. He's got some surprises this year, I think. We'll see. I'm sure I got something up my sleeve. All right, guys.
This is Your Path with Bishop Mark from Dallas Universal Life Church. Forget what you think you know about church.
Forget what you think you know about church.
So, what did you like? What did you not like? What do you want to keep? What do you want to get rid of? And I say that every week that we have a roundtable because I want you to know that we are a fluid church. We're always changing. The rules are not set in stone here. We're not stuck in our beginning. We've changed a lot since that day one back in Christmas almost 4 years ago. Well, almost. It was a little over 3 years ago. We had our first service. Our church actually began on May 31st, 2016. So on May 31st, 2020, this year we'll be turning 4 years old, which is right around the corner. Right around the corner. So I can't believe we've done this 4 years.
Wow. Well,
4 years, you know.
I just got out of treatment then for alcohol.
Yeah. And look at you now. You're doing great.
Yeah. They increased my medicine and I gained a bunch of weight. I'm so happy.
I'm not sure if there was any sarcasm there or not, you know? Maybe a little. Maybe just a little. Yeah. All right, so today is, in fact, right now, and all of the TVs around us most likely. Sounds like they're having a party upstairs, by the way.
I'm kidding.
It's Super Bowl Sunday here in America, and obviously none of us are real major football fans, or we'd be stuck in front of that TV somewhere. Yeah, I like sports just fine, but I'm kind of a hometown kind of guy. You know, I get stuck on my hometown teams, and you know,
fair enough.
Dallas is a little disappointing. So you know, when it comes to football,
yeah,
at least that's a plate.
I'm stuck on the Tom Landry days. You know, the good old days, the classic Dallas Cowboys. You know, I went to school with Walt Garrison's son, who is a classic. You probably wouldn't know. You probably don't know the name. You're probably a little young. Yeah. Walt Garrison. I had no idea who he was. He was a Dallas Cowboy, and one day my friend Ben asked us if I could come and hang out with him after school. We were in 4th grade, you know. So I did. Went out and hung with him. Everything was cool, and hung out. His dad had the coolest stuff. I didn't really think anything of it. I was in 4th grade, but he had like 2 race cars in the driveway. Race cars that were Skoll race cars. Now, what I didn't understand at the time was he was the sponsor. He was his race team, Skoll racing team. So after he had left the Dallas Cowboys and retired, one of the things he did was own a racing team from Skoll, a NASCAR. That's cool. It was kind of cool to kind of see those up close and personal. So my dad came and picked me up. And my dad, obviously, he would know probably know Walt Garrison a little better than I would. And my dad, he's a salesman. He's out working in the field all day. He's tired and got his tie half crooked. And he walks out to the door, and Mr. Garrison walks out. Hi, I'm Walt Garrison. And my dad's face just dropped. I was like, and I watched it, and I couldn't figure out what in the world was going on. I was like, what did I do? Right. Apparently, Walt Garrison, I figured out who Walt Garrison was real quick. And I also went to school with Roger Staubach's son, a Jesuit, which was nice. Roger Staubach actually helped build and donate the current baseball field at Jesuit.
Right.
Which
is a nice field.
Yeah, really nice, very nice field. They actually won their world championship on that field.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Jesuit sports has really come up.
Jesuit sports was 5A. I mean,
they tried to go 5A. My freshman year, they tried to go 5A. And I'm just wanted to get a little sports talk. You hear everybody else talking about it. So, and it was their first year that they'd gone out of the the Catholic or the parochial school league. Scholastic something like that league. I can't remember the name of it. IRL or IL something like that.
Yeah, it used to be.
Anyway, they were trying to get, and this is a small school. We only had about 400 students altogether. Okay. So that's a lot of graduating classes and that's a small graduating class for some of the Dallas schools, right?
Yeah.
So we played the likes of Plano East, Carter. We're talking about, these were big schools. We went 0-10 that year. So it was when I was in the marching band, it kind of sucked. Going 0-10 for your football team, and you're out there trying to root them on and everything. It's just really got tougher and tougher each week. Plus the bands we were, not really competing against, but they play on the same field. They're like 10 times as big as we are. And we're like, we're standing on the field after we play at their stadium or whatever. We're going, wow. So I'll tell you this about that. Ethan Toll was our conductor at the time, and God rest his soul. We may have been a small band, but we were always in tune. And one thing he taught us about the horns and everything else is don't overblow. Don't overblow. Just because you're on the field and you feel like you're, this big, they can hear you. You don't need to overblow, because when you overblow, you would go out of tune. It would go flat or go sharp.
Right.
Your music wouldn't sound the same, and you're not going to all blow the same way. So one thing was wonderful about our group, we were always in tune and always sounded good. Now these big bands out there like Plano East and whatnot, they were huge, and they still just had to really just blow and belt it out. It's a style, I guess. But they were always out of tune. If you listen to
So how can that be in style?
a lot of them preferred that real big, boisterous, But if you want to do that, get more people. I'm sorry, if you're going to stay in tune, play the instrument the right way. Mm-hmm. And he was very big on that. We did some really, at the time, we were kind of embarrassed about some of the songs we did, but. You think about some of the classes we did on the field. A lot of bands couldn't do it. We did things like Kumbaya.
Really?
Walk the Dinosaur. Yeah. Boom, boom, chaka-laka-laka boom. Boom, boom, chaka-laka boom, boom. We had to do that on the field. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had the Drake bass drums doing the wave. We had 5 bass drums.
I did that in drumline.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did West Side Story. We did West Side Story one year.
Really?
On the field.
That was awesome.
It was gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm kind of reminiscing here, sorry. Our mentors, I guess, if you will, was the what is it called? The Drug Corps International.
Okay.
Drug Corps International is it's a bunch of collegiate aged drum and bugle corps players who have come together from all over the world, and they have different, bands all over the country, and they perform and they compete every year, and it's the elite of the elite. You have to be really good, and they do some amazing stuff on the field. If you ever get a chance to go to YouTube and look at the DCI International, Drum Corps International, it's pretty awesome. You'll get addicted if you like anything like that. If you're ever in marching band or whatever like that, check it out. DCI. It's a lot of fun. I get stuck on YouTube watching some of that stuff sometimes. It's amazing. Anyway, I digress. The Beatitudes. Let's talk about the Beatitudes. Jesus had a little trick up his sleeve this time. He could be Jesus could be a bit of a drama queen. He could be a little bit flamboyant and trying to get the people to come in. He had his little tricks to get them in here and say, "Hey, come on, listen to me." not only was he the Son of God, I mean, but that's a pretty good one to write right there. I mean, he's got the, obviously, any man that can walk by these fishermen and say, hey, follow me, and they do, has to have some sort of charisma that we just don't understand to begin with. But to be able to be on this beginning of the Sermon on the Mount here and talk about these Beatitudes and come up with this outlandish ideas that people were like, are you crazy? You know, I'm going through some of this stuff you're talking about, and it's not a blessing. You know, I'm poor, or I'm poor in spirit, or I'm, you know, my loved one died, or I'm hungry, and you're saying that's a blessing? Come on now, you're nuts. Which, you know, most people at the time, I believe, they thought Jesus was a kook. Thought he was nuts. Who else would stand up to the king of the nation, and you're already an outsider at that point in your own world, and then give up the ultimate gift for us. So thank God he did. I start to, this time of the year, I start to kind of get into that mode of really reminiscing about that, really thinking about that gift that he gives to us. And people, they kind of get upset with me sometimes because I'm very graphic about my description of Jesus and the suffering that he had. And I want people to remember that there's a poster that we hang on Good Friday of Jesus' dead body hanging. And it's very realistic as far as any picture of Jesus could be. I mean, it's probably not the right colored skin and whatnot, but in our eyes of what we perceive Jesus to be, he's there and he's battered and torn and, I mean, beyond recognition. I think it's important that we get that image in our head, because we talk about being crucified, and we talk about being beaten, and we talk about dying, and we talk about Jesus died for us on the cross. And we say it so many times that it becomes, you become numb to the truth of what happened. Right. It's important for us to remember that every single day, not just on Good Friday, but every single day, keep that image in your head that when I do this, when I sin, when I decide to go against my God's will, that's what I'm doing. Every day. It makes you think. The next time you want to screw up, as I always use, the old analogy I always use of the example that I use, it makes you think before you grab that Hubba Bubba off the shelf at Whataburger. I mean, at Walmart, Whataburger. I must be hungry. At Walmart, and put it in your pocket and walk out with it. Knowing you had no money, you shouldn't be in there doing that. That's what you wanted to do. You know better,
Right.
but it makes you think. When I do that pack of bubble gum in my pocket, I'm doing to Jesus what was done to him over 2,000 years ago. I'm doing it again over a pack of bubble gum. All sin is the same in the eyes of God. All sin is the same. So, but back to the Beatitudes. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about this insane man sitting on a mountain talking about you're blessed if you're poor, and if you're destitute. Yeah, there we go. Destitute. My linguistic ability is kind of fading me today. Talk to me. What did you think of that? What did you think of the fact that here's Jesus, pretty logical guy normally. I mean, he has some parables that are kind of out there. He's kind of got some things that are he heal people and this, that, and the other. That's kind of cool, but he's talking crazy. He's saying that I'm blessed. I'm broke and I'm blessed, or I'm sick and I'm blessed, or I'm lonely, or I'm whatever. These things that we don't want to be on this earth. He's saying those people are blessed. What does that mean? Talk to me. I know we're all a little bit tired and hungry. I know. I'm not going to keep you for long.
No, I'm just trying to think of how that, like, if I was...
Think about sitting there, and hearing that man talk like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to think.
I'd probably walk out.
Yeah. But I would hope that, the people that did walk out, it at least spurred the thought in their, okay, what is it really about? I mean, because people nowadays are just as... I wouldn't say smarter or dumber than they were back then, but I mean, it should at least spur on the thought of what is he really talking about. Like, he may be crazy, but I would hope that some of them were it started the thought of what was he really talking about?
And I think that's what he was trying to do.
Right.
He was trying to get people's attention, which he needed to do. You got to get them to come and see the show. It may be a great show, but if they're not going to come and watch the whole thing, then what's the use? They're going to miss it. Drawing them into his, his world, and I'm envisioning. I sit there. I think about him, walking onto this mountain, this beautiful mountain in that part of the world, and sitting there under the trees and just preaching the Beatitudes to these people. What a gift that was for some of them, though.
Exactly.
I mean, if they could believe, if they could let go of some of the worldly, gunk that had been stuck onto them about who they were and where they stood in society, if they could believe this man and understand it, we do suffer here on earth. We do. I think all of us, we've suffered. We've had our hard times. I think for the most part, our lives have been pretty good, actually, if you look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Us three are in the top 5% of the most wealthy people in this world. In the world. Is that right? 5%. I think so.
I'm sure it's close.
Yeah, because all you have to have is to be in that position is to have a home, a car that drives somewhere, and we don't have to have all this. There'll be other things we put in there, and clothes in the closet, and a bank account with a little bit of money in it. That puts you in the top 5%. That tells you something about all these other people that are out there that are broke. Maybe maybe even the ones that we're talking about here, not even the ones that are broke in the pockets, but broke with the spirit as well. The gospel writers interpret Jesus' Beatitudes a little differently, and you'll see that one might say, poor in spirit, and one might say, the poor. Right. So it's kind of you have to kind of take both of them and look at it. It's the way they looked at it is one heard it this way. That's what I love about the Gospels is you can get the different point of views from these guys. Same story, but you can get a totally different perspective at it. And it's just the way I relate to religions as well. I think religions are just another point of view, or another perspective of the same things. Mm-hmm. We're trying to learn the same ideals here. The same, it's the same story here. It's the same. This is how you live your life. That's what religions are. I think as I've said before, God would not have his people, his offspring, his creation on this earth and give them this free will if not, what percentage of the world is Christian now? I mean, is it 30, 40, 50%? I don't know. Pull it up on your phone. Let me see. I guess I should research that, but we never know where this is going. Mm-hmm. I find it interesting that, whatever that percentage is, that he would say it's 40%. If we're 40% Christian, which I think we're actually less than that, but say 60% of the world, then he's
31.5 Christian, 23 Muslim, 16 is unaffiliated, and 15 is Hindus. 0.2%. Say
35% of the saying that leaves what 65%. So he's going to create 65% of these people and ban them all, damn them all to hell because they didn't say Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and they weren't necessarily Christian, even though many of them, probably most of them, actually followed in Christ's footsteps, whether they said they were Christian or not. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Whether they said they were Christian or not, they still lived a Christ-like life. There's a lot of people in this world that don't even know who Christ is. So, a lot of people, and are they damned to hell? I don't believe so. I mean, that's a personal belief of my own. The church has adopted that. And I'm grateful they have because that's important to me. I just can't see my loving God, my all-forgiving and all-loving God, creating this people and saying, that's for nothing, just going down to hell and suffer when they did nothing wrong, really. They lived good lives.
Right.
That's a tough one for a lot of people to swallow with me. They don't like to hear that.
Oh, that's awful.
But I don't like to hear the other. I don't like to hear the opposite of that, and hearing that God would actually be that vengeful and damn these. Because look, God is not fair. If God were fair, we would not be here. Believe it.
Yeah.
We have messed up enough in this world that God would have wiped us off of the earth a long time ago. So anybody says that God's not fair, they're right. God's not fair.
But in thinking the other way, not the opposite of what you believe, in the sense that, God was damning all these people who aren't going to follow, Christianity.
Right.
It makes God sound like religion, or if you didn't, it was like a filtering process. Like that doesn't sound right.
No. God did not create religion. I always say God created everything.
No, it's a human.
He doesn't really care about religion. I said it before. Religion is baloney. Religion is baloney. God doesn't care about that. How do you live your life? One of the ways we can live our lives better is by having religion in our lives and following those rules that help us to have some structure and help us to get along. Because you know what, sometimes it's tough to remember, and sometimes we need the support of our faith community to help us get through things. And I think that's one of the things that, relating this back to the Beatitudes here, so many faith communities shun these people away that we're talking about in the Beatitudes. They say, you can't come here. We've got a better place for you. You don't want to come to this church. There's been times I've walked into a church and felt very out of place.
Me too.
I should never feel out of place in a church. That's God's home. That's where God resides. That's where He, where things happen. Things happen all over the world. It doesn't have to be in a church. But that's, for us symbolically, it's a good symbol for us to go into and really work on our faith and our own, communication with God. And I think that a lot of these people in the Beatitudes have gotten a real bad. They're wrong end of the stick on this, and I think that's something we need to look at, and that's something we've looked at here at this church, is that all people are welcome here, no matter what you believe. You don't have to believe what we believe to come and worship with us. Come and give us your point of view. Let us learn from you. Maybe you've got a better idea on some of these things. Maybe your connection with God is a little better. We can learn from that. Whether we adopt it as truth or not is to be seen. But then come in with an open mind as well and listen to what we have to say. Take what you want and leave the rest. That's all I say.
It's all very personal.
It is.
It's a personal
Your faith
relationship
journey
with
is
God.
your faith journey. I can't tell you what your faith journey is because I'm not you. That's why I really get kind of ticked off with these ministers and priests who say they end up trying to be a go-between between you and God. I don't need a go-between. I can speak to God directly and He can speak back to me. I just have to learn how to listen. Most people don't know how to do that. And that's what we teach here, is how to pray. About shut up and listen. That's the most important thing. Because if you're not opening yourself up to God, if you're just praying and just doing your thing and just yakking, prayer is not a monologue. Prayer is a conversation. That's it. If you're just saying, I want this, I want that, and thank you for this, and bless so-and-so, see you later, you're messing up.
Sunni.
Yes. It's from another religion. We believe Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
Means to listen. There it is. I'm telling you, crossing even the lines of religion, because God doesn't see those lines. He really doesn't. He's about you living your life. What are you doing with this life He gave you? How are you treating others? Are you being a man and woman for others? Are you giving of yourself? Because if you are, you're doing pretty good yourself too, because I've told you this before. If you're able to constantly give of yourself and give to others your gifts that you've been given freely, without expecting anything in return, you don't ever have to ask for anything anymore, because it comes to you. It's abundant. Let me tell you, I've been very lucky in my life, and I've also had some downtime in my life, some real tough times. I think we all have had that. We've all gone through that. But when I decided to really push this church and really make this happen, with God's grace, of course, even though I can't give, and I don't think I give as much as I want to. I mean, I give almost all of my time to the church. I really do. I wish I could give more. But I haven't really had to ask for anything. And I'm looking back now. I don't have to ask for anything. If I need something, it comes to me. Just like when people come and ask me for something, dude, if you need it more than I do, it's yours. I mean, this stuff the stuff here is just temporary anyway, just like we are. It's just dust. None of this means anything. What means is so important is that that love that we build up in our hearts for all people, including these people we're talking about in the Beatitudes. We are those people sometimes in the Beatitudes. We feel those feelings. We have those feelings, so we can relate to that. And it's important to remember that when that happens and when you're hurting and when it seems like God is more distant, that Jesus Christ is telling us here that He's not. He's aware of what you're going through. And although He doesn't give a reason for all these things that happen to us that we have to go through, I'm sure there is one. But that it's going to be okay. And the suffering you're having now is paving a way of opulence almost, is the way I look at it, in your future. So it's okay to have things on this earth. It's okay to be healthy. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be the opposite of those things that the Beatitudes. That's important to say here. You don't have to be, it's not saying go be poor and go be unhappy all the time and be oppressed. That's not what it's about. What it's about is, be those things, but be there for others if you have those gifts. Be comfortable, but help. Give what look, don't be selfish. Don't be greedy. If you have enough, if you have more than enough, you don't need to store it away. Give it away. You don't need it. Give it to somebody who will use it. Don't waste it. Including your talents, your abilities, your love, your money, all of those things. It all comes together in that sum. That love sum, I think your love is the most important one you can give to everybody. Because Jesus Christ gave us that commandment. Love one another. And He means everybody. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You are to love everybody as He loved us. Wow, that's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You falling asleep on me?
No.
Talk to me.
I'm just listening.
I like your shirt.
Bring the joy.
I like that. That's very nice. Yeah. So talk to me. What did you get anything out of today's service? Did you get anything out of the Beatitudes? What did you think of them? What did you think of Jesus talking that crazy talk up there?
I don't think it's crazy. I just think that
it's good.
It's good.
It's good that you don't.
You might be this, that, and the other thing, plus that, and over there, but you're still blessed. Because the way I look at it, things boil down real simply to me, for me. If I'm blessed enough to wake up, that's how I'm 60. Yeah. So it's different for
as you get older. It does change. I mean, I know that too. I'm 46. Oh my God, I'm 46.
You said it.
I still, every time I say it, I choke up. What?
So, I feel blessed every morning I wake up. When I
had a long life ahead of you. What are you talking about?
I know, because the women on my mother's side of the family,
they'll live forever.
They do. And they stay in their own homes.
That's wonderful. That's fantastic. It really is.
Yeah, it is wonderful. I come from good blood. So, I feel blessed, even though I don't have my own home.
So what?
I have my own car now, and that's a blessing.
Amen.
It's
a huge blessing.
It's a huge blessing.
But you earned it. You've put your money, your time, and your abilities into getting that car for yourself.
Yes, I did. I finally just put my foot down. I can't go on any longer in Texas with no car.
And or anywhere else. A lot of people feel that way. I used to think that myself. We're all different.
Yeah.
The first car, I just had to throw this at you. I like not having a car. I can't afford it.
Right.
I really can't. It's expensive to own a car and to have insurance and all that stuff.
It is.
And maintenance and all that. And gas. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can, if I need to get somewhere, which I'm kind of a homebody, everybody knows that. But if I need to go somewhere, I can get on a dark bus and get there, fairly quickly. I live right in the middle of the city here. That's why I chose here. I like the city. I don't like the urban, the non-urban landscape. Nothing I don't like it. I think it's pretty and I love it. I love to visit the country. But I can't live out there. I'm too much of a people person. I got to have people around me. And so I can do that, and that's a convenience for me. Or I can jump on these little Uber cars that they've got now, and go, and that's a little luxury for me, by the way. That's kind of nice to be able to do that. It's expensive, but
it is expensive. But
it's nice to have that option if I need it, if there's an emergency or something. I don't have to think about that. When I first started driving, we had the buses, but I mean, if you had an emergency at 3:00 in the morning, the only way you're going to get there is a cab, and it might or might not show up.
Right.
Now I know that if I have an emergency at 3:00 in the morning, I can get on this app and I can have a car here probably within 5 minutes. and get to where I need to get, and get, whatever. So that's one of those things that really took that need for those kinds of things out of my life.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool for me because it simplified my life a bit. And the more simple, I think the more simple you can look. You can look around. I know I'm a pack rat. I know. I get it. I'm not a hoarder. Y'all quit calling me that. I am not a hoarder. It's not even close.
You're not a hoarder.
But I am a bit of a pack rat, and I'm working on that. But so I'm not saying that I don't have anything. I don't mean it that way. I haven't simplified my life quite enough yet. But to be able to look at it, and it does have two different points of view. You live further out, though. You live 2 hours from Dallas.
I do.
So you need a car.
I need a car.
You need a car.
To go anywhere, I need a car.
Absolutely. It's like when my mother lived in Quinlan. I couldn't live out there without a car.
I know exactly where Quinlan is.
It's tough, isn't it? Because I lived out there too.
I've never lived out there, but I know it's a very small town. It's not a very known town.
And she actually lived in the unincorporated part of Quinlan, just outside of. I mean, it was at the end of the dirt road. Nothing out there. To walk to the store would have taken a long time of a dirt road.
That's where I'm living in Gainesville.
You're in Gainesville?
Mm-hmm.
In that kind of Lake Kiowa area.
Oh, okay.
It's rough. We get used to especially living in the city or growing up in the city, we get used to some of the, the
being able to walk to the store.
Yeah, you can walk to the store. It's right here.
Yeah, it's right there.
But not where you are, not where I was. Oh, no. You didn't walk to the store. You just couldn't.
Well, I could. It'd take me
but
quite a while.
I'd probably get run over on the dirt road, because it's all windy road and everything. Cars coming through there, you just didn't walk down that road. Maybe people didn't do it.
Right.
I hate it out there. I'm sorry. No offense to anybody who loves the country, like more power to you. But I don't like that much silence. The stars are beautiful. They are beautiful out there.
It's also different in different parts of the country. Like my mom in Asheville, North Carolina, she's out in the country, but she's not out in the country. It's things are spread out, but they're a small drive and she's in the city. It's
right.
I digress.
So what about these people though? They like these Beatitudes. They're looking at us going, y'all have no idea.
We don't.
Y'all have no idea. We live in downtown Dallas. We don't have any money. We're homeless. We stay at the shelter when we can where it's not full. But other than that, we're not driving anywhere. We don't even get on the bus very often because we can't afford it, or we just get on when we can sneak on it, whatever, because that's what we can do. We don't have any money. Can you imagine living your life with no money? Zero. Not $1 ever in your pocket.
No.
Just relying on others' generosity and love to get you through every day. I'm a big kind of a planner. I'm a big planner, and if I had nothing like that, I know that God would take care of me. I know He would, but it would be hard.
I've done it for a very short period of time, and it was having to rely on either people you don't know or the couple people you do know. It is humbling, especially when when I have things, I'm giving. It's just who I am. So
and that's what you're supposed to.
Being on the opposite side of that and
it's humbling.
It's tough.
We talk about. Excuse me for not. I'm not going to exclude you here, but we talk about one of the things about being a man in this country, and one of those things is providing for yourself and for your family, and sometimes that doesn't happen. So you kind of get a double whammy there with that. You being the American male provider here.
What's expected.
But you know what? The American male ideal is not what God is looking for. Right? He doesn't care if you've got any money in your pocket. How are you living your life? Are you stealing to buy your food? Because a lot of times I've heard people say that that's an excuse. It's a valid excuse. It's okay. They were hungry. They didn't have any money. They've been through a rough time. They went and stole their food. I don't think it is. I don't think it's valid.
No.
I've been hungry. I ate out of a dumpster.
Well, that's still technically stealing.
It was. They called the police on us, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I know why they did it, because it's a business, and they have to worry about their image and whatnot. But why throw away that good food when they could have taken it to a shelter or something else? That food, nothing wrong with that food.
Right. Same.
I don't understand that. They threw away. This was a chicken place. I won't give the name of it, but they threw away fresh, hot, cooked chicken in the dumpster.
Oh gosh, I hope it was from churches. I'm sorry.
You crack me up. You really crack me up. Here I'm trying to be serious. You said, geez, we're going to eat churches.
I'm sorry. I love church's chicken.
My mother, that's my mama coming through you right now. I tell you what, my mama loved her church's chicken.
Never been.
She always had 2 breasts, a jalapeno, and the fries. The
2 breasts is huge.
Yeah, that's what I eat. I love 2 breasts.
The breasts
Wait a
are
minute, let me
great.
trace that.
Save that one.
Take that off.
Let's stop this for a second, because you know what? Y'all all know that I'm a gay man.
That's
So,
right.
you know, we can't even go there. This
Oh
is
my
not the
goodness.
first time I've talked about boobies on our show, on our service.
We're talking about chicken.
Churches.
We talked about some old ladies' boobies one time on the round table. So, you know, my Aunt Betty and my Aunt Patsy.
Oh, okay.
That you'll have to go back and find that one.
Okay.
That's a good one. I'll tell it to you
that
later.
was funny.
All right.
I do love 2 breasts from churches. Thank you very much.
Well,
a jalapeno with it, some curly fries, and you always got to have a strawberry soda with it.
Strawberries.
It was my stepfather
Is
did
it a
that.
church's thing?
My stepbrother did that. I don't know what it was. He always had strawberry Fanta with his chicken, and it stuck with me. So every time I go to churches now, I have to have a strawberry Fanta too, because that's not the same without it. You know,
What if it was strawberry Fago?
it wouldn't be the,
Oh,
it wouldn't be the
Faygo.
same. I've never had that. I don't even know what that is.
Fago.
Fig is
What is that?
interesting.
Is it a drink?
It is.
It's a soda pop.
It's
Is it good?
It's a,
From
It's
Michigan. Yeah, I don't know where they bottle it at, but you know.
I never heard
I'm
of it.
surprised you even know what Fago is.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yes.
She's kind of a Yankee too, aren't you? Aren't you from up north?
Yeah.
Damn Yankees.
I'm not a Yankee. I'm
I
from.
didn't say you were, but you obviously have
Well, you
some
said Yankee too.
you have some Yankee influence in you somewhere.
Yeah, I am born and raised here, but I don't like cornbread. I don't like
Yeah,
sweet.
see,
I don't
you've got
like
some
tea, I
Yankee
don't like-
influence in you somewhere. I know you do. I don't really like cornbread either, but I will eat it if it's really good and sweet.
Good.
If it's really good and sweet and moist.
Yeah.
If it's dried out and
Mealy.
bland, no, I don't
I'll
like
just
It's
put it in a
terrible.
cup with some milk and sugar. Great
that. I've
dessert.
heard of that,
Oh.
but it sounds disgusting.
It does sound. The consistency is actually really. It's
I
like
can't
tres
do that.
leches.
Yeah, that bothers me a bit. I can't do that. I don't really like tres leches. I love the flavor of it, but the consistency gets me. How are we talking about this in a roundtable? Let's move on.
Beatitudes.
Beatitudes.
You see what we're talking about, though? You see how we're sitting here talking about all these wonderful things we've had, and we're able to talk about these things? There's a lot of people in this world who will never know the flavor of anything we just talked about. Just to bring it back down to earth here. They won't ever, I mean, you know what? It doesn't matter. They don't know what they're missing.
Oh
They're
yeah.
not missing
Right? So they're not really missing it, and they are grateful for what they have. Some of the poorest, I've seen this in my own eyes, some of the poorest people in the world are some of the most grateful, and they're the most giving, and they're the most faithful in the world. Because they see the world at a different place, a much more simpler way to look at it. We've got all these complicated things piled on to this and that and this and that and this. And you try and say, well, your Beatitudes are this, but these people are this. Well, yeah, I fit into that category sometimes, but I really only fit here. Sometimes I fit into this category. Sometimes I fit into all these categories. And we're really, hating life. But I think the important thing to remember here is the hope that Jesus Christ gives us in the Beatitudes. Yeah, he was being a bit of a sensationalist. He was trying to get our attention, and he did it.
Mhm.
The Sermon on the Mount is called one of the greatest sermons ever written and ever spoken. I mean, by many people, not even just Christians. Some people, see Jesus as a prophet. They don't believe that he's necessarily the Son of God. That's their prerogative. That's their faith. Their path. And they say that even then, just saying he's a prophet, it was the best sermon ever delivered. There's a reason for that. There's a reason he wanted to get our attention. And I think that's coming soon here in the rest of the Sermon on the Mount. Does anybody know what's coming up? What happens on the Sermon on the Mount? What we talk about?
Fish.
It's tough to okay. It's tough to remember. I'm not going to tell you.
I remember the bread and the fish and the.
We go every year. We talk about the same thing every year, but it's hard. I mean, sometimes you forget. You forget, and we read the Bible, and like I say, sometimes we take it a little too, for a book. It's just a story.
It's a story.
It did happen, though. A lot of it did happen. A lot of it didn't happen. Like a lot of it is parables. But that's not the point. The point is, why do we have these parables? Why do we have these stories in front of us? They're not really the matter if it happened or not. The mattering is, what's it teaching us? What are you learning from it? How are you living your life? That's it. That's what it's there for. That's what those books and those stories have been passed on from generation to generation to generation, word of mouth back in the day before they wrote it down, was to teach you a lesson.
It's not entertainment.
It's not entertainment.
Can
It can be entertaining, but it's not really supposed to be.
It's lessons and.
I mean, Jesus was trying to be a bit of an entertainer here with the Beatitudes. I believe he was. I believe he was trying to pull them in. He was being, an all-around kind of salesman, promoter, the whole thing. He had to do all that for himself. So, reread. Here's what I want you to do this week. I always try and do an assignment every week. I always forget sometimes. Sometimes forget. I always forget sometimes. That was good English, wasn't it?
I think so.
I do sometimes forget. And we haven't had a lot of roundtables lately. I'm grateful for y'all today, for y'all being here. Thank you.
The round table.
Yes, that's the round table. I think it's more about spacing, being a little circle around. Lots of round tables around, yeah. I am grateful because this is one of my favorite parts of the service because I can hear you. Although I do talk too much still, I know I do.
It's okay.
I can hear you and I can see your eyes. And I can be down in this level with you, not standing up over you, and I can. It helps me to understand what you understand, and y'all teach me so much. Every Sunday that we have a round table, it's amazing. The things that I learn about my faith and my religion and God and Jesus and life. And if people would just open up their ears sometimes and listen to their neighbor, their life would be a lot simpler.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I want you to do this week is it's a very simple, easy assignment. I want you to, at some point during the week, whether you choose to do it every day or one time during the week or whatever, just take another look at the passage we read today. Sit down in a quiet space, kind of center yourself, get that noise out of your head, okay? This is the way I begin to pray when I want to pray and listen to God, okay? Just let all that go for a while. Just kind of get someplace that you can be with you and with God, hopefully. And hopefully he's there, but hopefully you'll realize it and be able to hear him or her. And I want you to read the passage we read today. Read it. What's up?
Which passage?
The gospel.
Okay.
The gospel message we read today. Do you have anything else for me today? I enjoyed this. And I like it. I like it's Beatitudes. I mean, it's there. We said what it is, right? I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I was
waiting for your praise. You said I liked it and something. Come on now.
I like you down here with us.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I do. And there's got to be a lesson. There's got to be a time when I'm instructing a bit and giving you my knowledge right now. And I think that's a catalyst for this. This is what I've tried to get to every week.
Right.
This is what I long for. Is this time that I can just really kind of bounce these ideas off of everybody. That's so cool. I don't know any other churches that are doing this on a regular basis. And I think that's what's special about our church. I think we've been missing it for a couple of months now. We have one or two roundtables, but I won't do a roundtable with just two people.
No,
I think a roundtable is three or more. Because I think two people that's an interview. That's your interviewing each other even. And that's okay. You can have discussions that way, but I feel like if we're going to do a roundtable, it needs to be three or more.
Right. I think that.
It's intimate. I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge number. It can be just a few of us, and we can get so much from each other. You really can.
And I hope to see, the evolution of the podcast, or the Wednesday service that you were talking about.
Right. I have a lot of ideas.
Or more, because this we're talking. We're talking about the sermon and we're talking about the service, but I feel like there's
a lot more.
There's a lot more because I have.
And you're welcome to talk about that stuff here. We're not limiting you to that.
Right? No. I never thought any differently. I just everybody's got their own look upon things, and I feel like I know the podcast is a really good way of.
It is. Now look, toes get stepped on here. It happens.
That happens every day in life.
I do it all the time because what? There's a sign in my room. What does it say? It says. Being honest may not get you the most friends, but it'll get you the best ones.
It'll get you the right ones.
It's the truth. Because, look, I made a commitment that I'm not going to mince words with people. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I've had to back off that a little bit because I found that I was coming out really harsh to some people, and it was actually driving people away.
Well,
I get that.
People get it.
I don't have to come off. I can deliver the same message to people. But not everybody's going to receive it the same way. Sometimes I have to take that into account.
Yeah, that's the perception.
I'm going to grab a Kleenex real quick. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ugh. Okay. So that's something that I learned, and I thought it was just black and white. I'm gonna be honest with you, and that's it. If you can't take it, move on. I didn't like that because some people they didn't take it the right way.
Right.
They took it as I was attacking them, and some people react differently. And I have to learn that about people, and that's pretty cool that I did because I'm starting to understand now that. And I'm sorry for the people that I did run off if I did. Hopefully they'll hear this or see this or know that to give me a second chance would be great. I'd love to have them come back and talk to them and be a friend, hopefully.
Right.
So I can't dwell on those regrets. I can't regret what those times are. I mean, the mistakes I had, and we're human, and we do that. It happens. You learn from them and you move on. You don't try not to make that same mistake again.
Right.
That's the whole point. But I don't remember where I was going with this. But yeah, as far as that goes, it's okay here. I mean, we will talk whatever the topic goes to. I try and go with. I mean, I try and keep it, somewhat centered. Mm-hmm. But as far as alternative, religions, alternative concepts of meditation. I mean, I even want to talk about things like crystals and the chakra and all these things that people are so afraid to bring into their church because it's not been the other church over there. And we don't necessarily believe that, and we don't want that, to rub off on us, right? When they can be very beneficial to our lives and very beneficial to our faith and our relationship with God. Those are gifts from God to begin with, obviously. Those are things that are helping us communicate with Him and helping us live better lives. And that's the whole goal here. Good point. And I want to make sure that that's understood. It doesn't, I've tried to make it clear. Yeah, we're going to talk about the gospel. That's what we do here. We are a Christian church. But we're open-minded. That doesn't mean we're going to have to stick with everything it's got to be like that. And I love the fact that we can get other people in here and get other ideas and other, that's what it's about. That's what the Roundtable is all about, is blending those ideas together and becoming stronger in our faith. Because as one person, we are strong, we can be. But as 20, wow, trying to knock that down.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Guys? Ladies?
No.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. Let's close this out in prayer. And we will circle up around a round table, I guess, around the round microphone.
Spherical microphone, round table.
You got to be a smart aleck, don't you?
That's
not a table. That's not a round table.
Yeah, I walked right into that one.
Yep. Alrighty. Would anybody else like to close the prayer tonight? I mean, I'm able to, but I'd like to offer it to anybody else if they feel so inclined to close us out in prayer. If you don't want to, it's not that big of a deal. I don't mind doing it. I enjoy doing it. But just want to throw it out there. You don't have to say anything you don't want to. You can just jump in if you want to. Let's do this. Father in heaven, thank you for the time we've had together tonight. I've enjoyed it, and I hope my friends here have enjoyed it, and I hope that we're learning from each other and growing stronger in our faith so that we can be closer to you, which is our ultimate goal, to be like you, to follow in your footsteps, to be unconditionally loving to all. Just for the fact that we are able to gather here is a miracle in itself. So many people in our world are unable to even speak your name, and we are blessed to have what we have. Lord, I ask that you watch over us this week. Help us to get a little closer to you with these Beatitudes and understand the people in our world, in our lives, and ourselves. We ask all of this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I'm getting there. I'm getting better at it.
You're good at it. You're good at it. You're wonderful at it.
Thank you. I feel like sometimes I can go on and on and on and on, I get a little long-winded because I have so much that I want to ask for and pray for and thank Him for.
Okay.
There's got to be a time and a place for everything, I guess.
This is the angle that I got.